so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on the program. Let's dive into the conversation that we have for you tonight, and it's about the coronavirus disease and technological development. So, a lot of people online, offline, have been having this debate and saying 5G that is being tried. Well, it's been established that there was a trial spectrum done in Nigeria, and the fear of contracting disease mounts, but there are other myths tied around the coronavirus. One that is being very popular is the 5G technology and the effect on the humans, or whether or not the 5G technology aggravated the virus, or in fact, some say it's even the cause of coronavirus in Nigeria.
Okay, so Nigerians, some of them are suspicious that 5G technology is the cause of the coronavirus in Nigeria. Although they don't have very many cases, but it's just the way that they're thinking, all right? Which is, like he says, very popular theory right now. Even here in America, been hearing a lot of the same, sort of 5G conspiracy theories, okay? So, I'll leave a link so you can watch this whole segment if you like. We're just going to get a couple minutes, especially, important is the biologist that he's going to feature to give his breakdown of 5G technology. All right.
Is it a myth or reality? Let's get a sense of what this means. We might be talking technology, but tonight we want to break down the policy of government, the issue of lives of Nigerians, technology. How does it relate with some of the problems that we're facing around the world today in terms of the health emergency? Let's speak to an environmental biologist, Mr. Tony Nwakalo, who joins us tonight on the program. Thank you so much, Tony, for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
First and foremost, should and give us a sense. A lot of people think that 5G, coronavirus is caused by 5G. True or false?
There's no evidence to support that. It's just that there's a few things that happen to be very strange coincidences. That's what I believe gave rise to the suspicions.
You are a biologist, you're a scientist, and you are of the view that 5G technology is dangerous. In the first place, in the first few seconds, explain to us what is 5G. For a lot of people that don't understand what 5G is, we know 4G is we are utilizing 4G majorly in the country now for mobile communications and all that. What is the difference between 4G and 5G?
So 4G LTE means fourth generation long-term evolution, and it is within the radio frequencies that are pretty much, it's called, in radio frequencies you have the SHF, which is the super high frequency, which is between 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz. And then you have the extremely high frequency from 30 to 300. So 4G is within the lower bands of the super high frequency. And 4G has maximum speed of 100 megabytes per second to 1000 megabytes per second. Now, I say that to put it in perspective so you understand the graduation of speeds of processing.
So the question is, what is 5G? Isn't it?
So 5G is fifth generation mobile phone technology that is expected to support more complex internet operations like the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing. 5G is actually in 3 bands.
All right. You heard he also said artificial intelligence. Keep that in mind. Okay.
You have the low band, you have the mid band, and then you have obviously the millimeter waves, which is basically where there are issues.
Okay, so to break it down, there are some people who have broken it down to the point that if you're downloading a full movie about 1 hour 30 minutes with a 4G, which can take about 20 minutes, for 5G it can take how long?
3 seconds.
Really?
Yes, because it gets as high as 20 gigabytes per second.
No, say that again.
Wow.
So if you download an hour 30 minutes of movie in about 20 minutes to download on 5G, say it again.
It's a few seconds, 3 point something seconds, because it's 20 times faster than 4G.
20 times faster.
Yes.
So in essence, the spectrum that you have a problem. You are one of those who have a problem with 5G technology and the relationship with biology or the relationship with human health. What is the 5G frequency spectrum, and how does it relate with human health?
Well, I mean, with the lower bands, there's not so much of a problem. The issue is the millimeter wave at 60 gigahertz frequency. Now, there's something called atmospheric attenuation. What that means is when a wave is being dampened or absorbed by the atmosphere, and it is observed that on the SHF to EHF bands, there are certain spikes on that curve. The first spike, I don't have that slide. If not, would have, yes, that's
okay,
the slide.
so the 60 gigahertz millimeter wave, and so it's what is a 60 gigahertz millimeter wave? That slide, if we could put it on.
Yes. So basically, the 60 gigahertz millimeter wave is within the extremely high frequency spectrum, and what happens is it's almost 98% attenuated by oxygen.
What does that mean?
It means something in the atmosphere. You see, these waves, when we say radiation, many people might not know what it is, so they might not appreciate that even non-ionizing radiation has problems. But at 60 gigahertz, it means you have 60 gigahertz photon energy. Photon is the carrier of the electromagnetic force. So that's how electrons transfer energy between each other. Yes.
What does it affect you?
Starting back at about the 12-minute mark of the video.
The 60 gigahertz millimeter wave is within the extremely high frequency spectrum, and what happens is it's almost 98% attenuated by oxygen.
What does that mean?
It means something in the atmosphere. You see, these waves, when we say radiation,
it's
many
a
people
life
might
force.
not know what it is, so they might not appreciate that even non-ionizing radiation has problems. But at 60 gigahertz, it means you have 60 gigahertz photon energy. Photon is the carrier of the electromagnetic force. So that's how electrons transfer energy between each other. Yes.
What does it affect humans?
Oh, absolutely. So this is how it is. If you are exposed to 60 gigahertz millimeter wave radiation, which is being attenuated by oxygen in the atmosphere, everything that has to do with oxygen in your blood, oxygen in your atmosphere, what happens is the electrons, which form a covalent bond that make oxygen diatomic, that even if the activation energy required to break the bond, that happens on the ionizing radiation, it breaks bonds. But on non-ionizing radiation, it has enough energy to change the spin of the electron, which basically destabilizes its ability to function in simple terms as we can use it.
So in simple terms, the water in our body is being affected, which makes us breathe and live as a human being.
No.
So water is different from, this is directly oxygen.
Oxygen, okay.
This is directly oxygen. So the ion component in your blood, hemoglobin, is what's responsible for transporting oxygen, if you remember our elementary biology.
Absolutely.
So the hemoglobin is going to struggle to lock onto the oxygen atoms because its orientation has changed.
Okay.
This is
all right.
This is
So 5G technology literally affects your breathing. Okay. In other words, it stops you from breathing.
Atomic particles. It's not a very popular and it's interesting to me, but it's not a very oxygen atoms because its orientation has changed. This is subatomic particles. It's not a very popular and it's interesting to me, but it's not a very generally interesting part of physics.
So basically, for animals and humans, the 5G spectrum or the electromagnetic waves from the 5G affects humans.
It will affect everything, not just humans. It affects animals. I mean, anything that's a vertebrate that uses oxygen, exposed to millimeter waves for extended periods. Ionizing radiation impact is immediate. Non-ionizing radiation, it's like death in doses. So the effect is gradual.
Okay.
And then you get to a point where your cells can no longer sustain that boiling microwave type environment.
Whoa. Okay, so you see that? Your cells are being microwaved. That's exactly what it's doing, man. All right? Zapping you. Look at that look on that Hebrew face. He broke it down. He talk a little fast, but you just gotta, rewind and listen. Watch it over, man. He give a good breakdown, okay? Hey, boy, that's some wicked inventions of these heathens. Okay, they they all about want things faster and autonomous, artificial, and surveillance is a big motivator for all this technology that they're coming up with too. It really is. AI, artificial technology, and so forth. All right, wicked inventions, man. But you know what? You see, it's gonna come back to hunt you. All right, but his bottom line though is 5G is harmful, but it's not what we're seeing with the coronavirus. All right, pretty much. All right, so far he says no evidence to support that. Okay, and it's just naive to think that you can't be living in a time of a pandemic when there's been times of pandemics, and there's prophecy. If you're a Bible believer, there's prophecy that tell you that there's going to be pestilences, what these people call pandemics. All right? Yes, right. Part of the judgment. Luke 21:11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights. Great signs shall there be from heaven. Okay? Yeah, and pestilences, man. It's in there, okay? But people didn't have this in their doctrine and in their prophecy, so they want to count this out. They don't really want to consider this prophecy. They want to consider this some sort of conspiracy. But the prophets of old, all right? The prophets of old saw pestilences and plagues. And so that was one of the things that they always prayed, and prophesied for deliverance from, like King David in Psalm 91. Psalm 91, verse 6, verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the arrow that Salakia. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. What else? Verse 6. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. So, man, pestilence is nothing new to the prophets. Okay? That's right. It was a part of the Most High's destructions from long ago. They saw it going all the way back to Egypt when he first delivered his people, the Hebrews, out of the house of bondage. Pestilence is what he struck those people with. Plagues and pestilences. Okay? These people, they were plagued with disease at the end. The death of the firstborn was caused by what? A pestilence, man. That walketh in the darkness. That's what Passover was. That was our first Passover. Is when the pestilence, walking in the darkness, took all the firstborn of Egypt. It did harm not a one of the children of Israel who had the blood over the doorposts. See that? He passed over us. That's what Passover was all about. The pestilence that was walking in darkness, killing people. That's what the real Passover started from. Now, how about that? Bless the Most High forever. All praise on high. Barakat Hashem Yahweh. Barakat Hashem Yahweh Shah. Barakat Hashem Kodash. Salutations to your nations. Death tolls to your heathens and you heathen loving ass Negroes. Okay? You so-called Jews. All right? You non-black Israelites. Okay? Rumor, true or false, I don't know. But the so-called God-sent comforter, Jermaine Grant, a.k.a. Tazadaki, has been put to death with this pestilence. Boy, we just brought that word out saying that the Most High's going to take your wicked ass niggas with the heathens, the enemies of his people, the true Hebrews, the original, the only black Hebrews. That's right. Praise the Most High forever, man. Bless his holy name.